Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the privacy and the security edition. These are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you'd like to catch the show live. But let's go ahead and get jumping right on into some security news. And this is a very interesting week because the first half of it is actually a little bit maybe good security news. Like some people are starting to wake up to some of this nonsense, and this is a good thing. This is a good thing, guys. This is what we have been shooting for and educating for. So hopefully this means things are coming back. First, two laws, Maryland, two states, both Maryland and Montana. I have no earthly idea how Maryland keeps on making these logical choices. But Montana, I can understand. They're passing laws to limit the use of DNA searches for criminal investigations. So this goes back to, of course, the one guy that they captured after 30 years of not knowing who he was. Who is he? The guy over in like Sacramento. Golden State Killer, I think he was. And the police are like, hey, let's just take the DNA samples that we have and just run them through like 23andMe. I don't remember if it was 23andMe, but it was one of those like that. And let's see what we get back. and so they get the results back, and it actually leads to a conviction. And so there's definitely a positive trend to this, but the challenge that we have, at least here in America, with the way our laws in our country is supposed to be set up is we're not supposed to be able to do dragnet blanket searching the general population. For better or for worse, crime in America is generally more like okay, let's figure out what happened after it was done, because it starts with the assumption that most people are going to be relatively innocent. That may be a good thing, may be a bad thing, but that's also why we need to defend ourselves. So the idea here is that these states, and maybe some other ones will come down through it, are saying police cannot search DNA databases blanket without having a court order. And in those court orders, they are limiting it to very specific and very serious crimes. I know murder was one of them. I think rape was one of them, and I'm not going to remember the other one off the top of my head. There were only like 3 or 4 crimes in there that required it. Otherwise, the police were not allowed to just send samples in and say, hey, show us who our relatives are. So way to go, Montana and Maryland, for passing such laws. And hopefully that will lead to a trend where people are realizing, hey, let's not send our DNA into random companies on the internet, because that's a little bit on the foolish side. Next one is another Ring one, another police data request. Now Ring will require public requests from police surveillance videos to be public. So basically what this is meaning is, if you go back and remember, now maybe this is just a positive spin, maybe this is all just marketing BS to make everyone feel better, but regardless, they're changing it in that police used to just be able to PM you, or even just carte blanche have access if you've clicked a certain button to anything on your feed. Isn't that frightening? It's frightening enough that these cameras are recording and saving all this data anyway. But now if police would like to have data from a camera, they must make the request publicly to the neighborhood. So I didn't see anything that would allow the neighbors to stop such a request, but at least it lets the neighbors know that there is a request out, rather than some behind the scenes. You know, you may not like people running around, but you don't have any cameras. Your neighbor has a Ring camera, and the police get access to your neighbor's Ring camera without you. So there we have it. So that's, at least on its surface, is a good thing. It has to go through the neighbor's app, but still I would recommend not having a Ring camera. Better that the data's not there, because who knows, we'll probably find out the police have access to all this stuff anyway. They're just, maybe this is just the media spin to say, well, I asked her publicly and I got the one from your neighbor's house that doesn't seem to have one, but I got it from him anyway. He took it down the night after. Yeah, that was it. Maybe that's happening, but at least on the surface, then going back to the previous argument, I assume people are innocent. Probably a bad assumption, but anyway. This one here is yet another AirTag. I would advise people not to have these AirTags. This one here, partially good news, but partially bad news as well. So Apple bolsters AirTag's privacy measures it will offer an Android detector app later this year. So in other words, if I would like to make sure I'm not getting spied on and tracked by an Apple stalker, I have to take my phone and download Apple's app onto my phone to make sure that nobody is spying on me or stalking me. No, Apple. And I bet that if we go and look at this thing, I bet that you're granting Apple a whole lot of permissions. So there you have it, guys. So they say they're upping privacy efforts. Really, all this is going to mean is that the things are going to start beeping in a shorter window. They used to not beep until about 3 days within the range of an individual phone or in a specific location. Now they're not beeping quite that frequently, but what they are going to be doing is after 8 to 24 hours, they're going to start beeping. So the idea is if somebody's stalking you with one of these things, it will start beeping within less than a day. And so that's possibly good news. But the bad news is, well, just download the Android app to see. Well, A, not everybody has a phone. B, no, I don't need to download your stupid app on my device just to find out if your stupid product is being used to stalk me. No. Here's a thought. If you find out somebody's using this, just go back and sue Apple for enabling stalkers. Just include Apple on as a co-defendant on your lawsuit for stalking. Yeah, send Apple over. And then make sure that the lawsuit is jointly and severally liable. At least you have some deep pockets to make sure you get paid. So, yeah, kind of nonsense, but anyway. Now we get into some of the more, maybe not as good ones. Chrome is going to start warning you when you may not want to trust an extension. Ooh. I wonder, is it going to warn you not to trust the Flock and all of the other crap that Chrome does on its own? Hey, maybe you should not, if you're concerned about privacy, maybe you should not use Chrome. There you go. So the idea here is that they're going to have, based on the permissions and things, they might warn you, ooh, are you really sure you want to install this dubious app that looks a little suspicious? So, so add weather. Yeah, you get an app called Weather. There you go. Proceed with caution. This extension is not trusted by enhanced safe browsing. Yeah, well, Chrome, you're not trusted by me. What does that say? Anyway, it can read and change all your data on websites you visit. Woohoo! That, by the way, means it is... when a weather app is doing that on websites, it means it's going to be pushing you ads, just by the way. Maybe a little bit of good old-fashioned thinking will help you with this. So, there you go. Badfile.exe may be dangerous. Whoa. You mean badfile.exe is dangerous? Come on, guys. I don't put mine as bad file. I put mine as really wicked virus.exe. There you go. And then I email it to people randomly. That's right. So yeah, if the app is not probably properly vetted or probably paid Google to be there, yeah, you may not want to install this one. How long before it starts saying, hey, install this one instead? It's from one of our trusted partners that's paid us to be here. So that's exciting. That's exciting indeed. And next, Apple is eating our lunch. Google employees admit in a lawsuit that the company made it nearly impossible for users to keep their location private. So this goes back to the lawsuit looking at Google and Android devices and privacy. We talked about it a little bit, and they issued a heavily redacted report. Now, though, we have more of that report. The judge is kind of like, hey, let's just go ahead and unload a lot more of it. And so what it turns out is that the way Google was still tracking your location, you could have turned off location tracking on the Google app and said, oh, no, Maps, you're not allowed to do it. But if you had location services on and there was some other app on your phone, Google could just grab the data from that because, hey, we can see everything going on in all of the apps anyway. And so that's really how they were doing it, is just by saying, well, you didn't give us permission, but you gave, the weather app your permission, and we just went ahead and borrowed the location from over there. So a note to self, guys, if you do not want to be location tracked, now, first and foremost, you'd have to completely turn off your phone, but you can minimize it a lot by keeping the GPS completely off and disabling any and every app from being able to access any location data at all. That is really what the important part is. And so here we have it. And on to our final article for today. Amazon wants your health movements. So Amazon Halo will use your phone's camera to score your movement health. So the Halo, remember, is kind of like the smartwatch that doesn't actually have anything. It's basically just a bracelet that does everything a smartwatch does, only instead of having to produce a screen that you can actually see, everything is transmitted on the app and thereby inside of Amazon's cloud. So you're literally giving every bit of your health data to Amazon when you do this. But then what the phone is going to do differently that Apple Watch and stuff does not do, is this a win for Apple Watch? Wow, check please. I have to defend Apple now. So what they do that Apple is not necessarily doing is, hey, your phone has all these sensors. Let's just go ahead and use all the sensors on your phone. And so that's what they're doing. They're utilizing all of the sensors on the phone. And as they're looking at all the sensors on the phone, they're being able to track all this stuff. And then you can take your camera and you can snap pictures and stuff of yourself. And then it'll be like, hey, your range of motion maybe not look so good. Like, here's a thought. Why don't you go to a physical therapist if you're concerned about that? By the way, guys, never leave a camera around my brother. If you leave a camera around my brother, he picks up and takes a picture of his crotch. And you don't even know it's there. He's done it hundreds of times to people. Fortunately, I've never left my cameras around him. But gotta be careful. I just thought of that when I thought of this Amazon Halo. Hey, Amazon, how's this working? Snap! I'm telling you guys, this is getting a little bit creepy. Talk about privacy invasion. You may as well give them the size of stuff down there too. All right, so guys, don't use this crap. Stop giving big tech your health data. Take that crap off if it's connecting things. That's why where the particular one I have is the only one I know of that I can pull any data off it and it doesn't connect to anything. You can make it, but I've always made sure that is permanently disabled on the platforms. So anyway, if you'd like to help support the channel, have a look at my affiliates. We are talking here about ExpressVPN, tlm.li/EV. ExpressVPN will allow you to connect your IP address to any number of servers around the world, up to 5 different devices, including having an entire VPN enabled router to encrypt everything on your network. So if you are in need of a VPN, if you travel a lot, if you're at public Wi-Fi frequently, definitely you might need to have a look at a VPN. So with that, have a look at ExpressVPN, tlm.li/EV. Now let's go ahead and have a look at some security news. So just a couple security articles today. First is a little bit of a positive update. Supreme Court reins in the definition of crime under the controversial hacking law. So what happened here is, now of course the sign here is Aaron Schwartz, I think it was. He was a hacker that took literally articles that were published utilizing public funds. He downloaded copies of them and made them available, and he was arrested for hacking, which was a bunch of nonsense. And people have been trying to fight the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act ever since then. And a court case has finally hit the Supreme Court where a police officer used his own valid credentials to get information in a way that was not kosher by his department. They charged him with violating the Computer Fraud Act. And the Supreme Court, while siding with the disciplinary actions that the police department would take for utilizing the credentials in an unauthorized way, they did find that that does not constitute computer hacking. So maybe we are starting to see a twist of the tides here in that maybe we will start to see actually, pedos get more time in jail than computer hackers. We'll put it that way, because while neither one of them is good, we are oftentimes throwing the book at nonviolent people, and we shouldn't be doing that. And so it's interesting to see the Supreme Court taking case at this. You can read about the article. There's a lot of other nuance of this, which we're not going to get into here, but the links for all the articles we have are over on the website and linked in the description of this video. Next, some suspected Chinese hackers breached New York City Transit Authority's computers. What actually happened here is the New York City put in a whole lot of new cameras on a new train that came from China. Well, it really wasn't hacking as much as just accessing the back door that they installed on the software to the cameras that they installed. And so Chinese was able to see everything that was going on in New York, and they end up suspending those particular trains for now. But there was considered a cyber attack, but really they just got in there and looked. They didn't actually get in there and do anything. It's kind of like, it's just the ADT guy hacking into the couple's bedrooms at night. He was just making sure that nobody broke in while they were doing the horizontal boogie. I mean, really, guys? On though to our biggest hack of the week was the meat producers hack. So JBS was hacked. This was a big ransomware hack. Now this is a massive, I think it's like the third largest meat, or it's the largest meat producer. Yeah, world's largest meat producer that produces a third of the meat, guys. We almost had a bacon shortage. Now, we might still have a bacon shortage, but nevertheless, what's happening here is the guys got in there, they crypto ransomed the whole place. But unlike many other groups, these guys actually paid their IT well. The IT knows what's going on, and as of, I think, 2 days ago, they're already back onto full production, and they said they will be completely caught up with back orders by the end of next week. So we should not actually see a meat shortage due to this particular thing. Now, what they did right is they actually had backups. Their backups were on separate servers. They were encrypted in a separate way. And so this company was actually able to, largest meat producer in the world, roll everything back, figure out where their holes were, and get all that stuff plugged out. So that's what caused these guys. But I want you to stop and think about it. Now, I know some of you guys might be a little bit suspect of this person, but Glenn Beck actually just had a video. It was either today, yesterday, I don't know. I don't catch a lot of his stuff, but every now and again he has an interesting one, and he addressed the cybersecurity stuff, and he said this is all the cybersecurity attacks that we're hitting are kind of like the shark bump. That's what he was talking about. And what's interesting about this one here is, remember that Bill Gates, who, by the way, is not a doctor, a scientist, or a politician or an elected official. He's just a rich dude who waves cash at people and goes, "Do what I say." And so he does that. Well, he's been buying up all of the farmland at the same time as telling all of the first world countries, you need to stop producing meat and make artificial synthetic meat. You can't be doing this animal stuff. It's going to kill the whole planet. And so they want all of the first world countries to be eating synthetic meat because we have the science to do it now. I got news for you guys. Don't eat scientific food. Soylent Green is a problem. Don't eat Soylent. It's not healthy. What is considered the healthy American diet is about the most unhealthy thing you can possibly eat. I promise you. And that's what Bill Gates has been doing. So it's very interesting that at the same time, Bill Gates is buying up all of the farmland, and we have this, and he's telling countries to stop producing real meat and stop slaughtering animals to save the planet. We have this attack, a computer attack on all of these things. Maybe someone should look into this. Just saying, I'm not wearing my tinfoil hat today, but there's a few little things lining up here, but I don't know. Y'all leave you guys to come up with those. And if you'd like to support these nonsense tinfoil hat ideas, you can head on over to Subscribestar and find me over on subscribestar.com/switchedtolinux. You can jump in over there and help support the channel. We also have Patreon, TOMM, and we have thinklifemedia.com. So thanks for watching, guys, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.